It's Tuesday, May 6th, the day after Cinco de Mayo.
Yay!
Yesterday's
Look at me
quiz
like that.
is up on Skyward and not down below on there. It's just there to find it. Day of service, you'll be meeting with them today during best. As soon as 7th period ends and you would normally go to best, you are going to leave room and go to wherever you're supposed to be. They are going to talk about lunch on that day, what you're doing for the activity, whether you need permission slip for it, and all the things that go into it. I believe you meet again with them one day next week, but they have not decided for sure. Today's shirt is from page 125, the part you had to read the quiz. Do you know the scene where they say, "Do it for Johnny"?
Skibidi toilet.
They're getting ready to rumble, do the rumble thing.
Ooh. You're stupid.
This was when Ponyboy and Two-Bit go to visit Dally in the hospital. And he takes the switchblade from Two-Bit. And he says that we're going to win this rumble and we're going to win it for Johnny.
No, you weren't.
And he says, "Do it for Johnny." And that was the whole idea of winning the rumble.
No, you're just
Do it for the paraplegic.
And
I'm gonna make you become like Johnny. Do it for the
did
paraplegic.
access code, did that thing.
Retake.
Do it for the paraplegic.
If you were one of the kids who got a button, I believe I've given out most. You just have to email me picture. Takes 24 hours, so if you email me today, in theory I'll have it tomorrow. If you email it tomorrow, then it goes to the next day from there. So again,
How did Gio get it?
Wait, Gio got it?
yes.
Whoa!
Whoa. Right.
Daniel got it.
Yeah. You might not know this, but sometimes kids who are spazzy are also smart. There's no connection between spazzy and smart. Yeah. I have kids who have issues and actually are smart too. It happens.
Look at me in first place on third period.
That's not first place, that's alphabetical. Wait,
Stop drinking all
but
the
Jaden, are you on the list? Unlike all the other kids hating on you?
Yeah, Annabelle.
I'm
Yeah,
not hating
Adrian.
on them. I'm not hating them. See how quickly they tried to come at you?
I got more hate. Well, I didn't try.
So, there were only two questions that we struggled with on quiz. One was it said the best definition of Dally's gold from Ponyboy's poem, the thing that brings him happiness and joy,
Johnny Cake.
the idea of Johnny, which is going to lead to our issue coming up in chapter 10.
I got
and
that.
End of chapter 9. The fact that Johnny is Dally's thing that represents and makes him happy and gold.
A nice gooey belly
That's the question I got wrong.
We all have choices.
That's the question I got right.
The other one was one that I did not think would be tough, but the two characters that get injured and have to stay long term in the hospital.
James and Sarah.
I think it came down to the whole reading directions and stuff like that.
I got that one right too.
That was so easy.
Yeah. I thought they were all easy, but I might be biased.
Well, you've been
So,
reading the book for
Here is our plan coming up to help you guys out. You are going to have reading homework this week because there's no way around it. You guys have been putting off reading, so at some point it's going to happen. But I'm still reading with you. I'll be spending the class period reading this week and then talking to you, and then you'll have to finish it for homework. So I will do 9 today, 10 tomorrow, and then 11 and 12 on Thursday. For Friday, I am talking about the entire book and answering questions and going through it because Monday is the final test. Monday's test is the one that you have to get the 75% on in order to go to the movie. And we'll set up the movie either for next week or the week after school, depending on what we can find that works. Hi, Brian.
Nice one.
Hi, Addie.
Is the final test over chapter 9 to the rest of the book, or is it the whole one?
Hi, Brian. Sure. All right, we good? And hi, Annabelle.
What questions is there?
Around 35 to 40.
What? I'm cut.
Again, much like my other ones, if you read the book, you're fine. It's not an issue. If
Come
you
on, kiss
didn't
it.
read
I
the
don't
book,
like me.
then obviously you don't care and it's not a problem.
What the? heck are you?
So, to give you an idea where we are story-wise, in the whole story mountain with our exposition, rising, climax, falling, and resolution,
We're at falling.
today we are just getting to the climax. I would say end of chapter 9, beginning of chapter 10 is climax. I would say chapter 9, chapter 10, and then 11, and then 12. So it gives you an idea of roughly. Now, with the whole stabbing of Bob, that would have definitely been rising action and a little bump. When we got to the fire in the church, rising action and a bump. But the thing we have happening at today into tomorrow is absolutely that big part up there.
How did they just, where did that
I don't
come
know.
from?
Gary.
I don't know where that came from.
It's up here on my little ledge. It just fell off.
How did it? Can I have your
It
big
was
pencil?
Page 131.
Aw.
That's where I get to start reading with you as we get into our fight. Let's see.
Mr. Bro.
Jadon.
J-Dad.
Good conversation.
That's me.
That's what I thought too. Chapter 9. So here's where we're getting into this whole rumbly thing.
It's greasy time.
Hi, Nate.
I was listening to an audiobook, but then it skipped to chapter 10, so then I heard chapter 9.
That does make it tough.
Chapter 10 is my favorite.
Chapter
Yeah.
9. It was so he was just leaving the hospital where he saw Dally and Johnny there, and they had this scene where he says, "Do it for Johnny."
Wheeler chair.
It was almost 6:30 when I got home. The rumble was set for 7, so I was late for supper as usual. I always come in late, and I forget what time it is. Derry had cooked dinner: baked chicken, potatoes, corn. 2 chickens, because all 3 of us eat like horses, especially Derry. But although I love baked chicken, I could hardly swallow any. I swallowed 5 aspirins, though, when Derry and Soda weren't looking. I do that all the time because I can't sleep very well at night. Derry thinks I take just 1, but I usually take 4. I figured 5 would keep me going through the rumble and maybe get rid of my headache. Quick pause. Those of you who take ibuprofen or Tylenol or aspirin, do not take that many. It is really unhealthy for you and can mess up your liver and kill you. So here's where he's saying I'm sneaking 5 and they thought I was taking 1. That's not healthy. That is way bad. Then I hurried to take a shower and change clothes. Me and Soda and Derry always got spruced up before a rumble. And besides, we wanted to show those socias that we weren't trashed, that we were just as good as they were. "Hey, Soda," I called from the bathroom. "When did you start shaving?" "When I was 15. "When did Derry?" "When he was 13. "Why? You figuring on growing a beard for the rumble?" "You're funny. We ought to send you into the Reader's Digest. I hear they pay a lot for funny things." You guys ever heard of Reader's Digest?
No.
Digest?
I'm
It's-
sure you do.
A magazine. Normally you find them in either doctor's offices or your grandparents' house. But they have a part where you could write in a story.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me either. Where you can write in stories about your own life and then they would pay you money for it. More if it was like considered a funny thing. So that's what they're referring to. Soda laughed and went right on playing. Oh, I tried to find a picture of kids playing poker.
Oh, wow.
Soda laughed and went right on playing poker with Steve in the living room. Derry had on a tight black t-shirt that showed every muscle on his chest and even the flat, hard muscles of his stomach. I'd hate to be the Soch who takes a crack at him, I thought as I pulled on a clean t-shirt and a fresh pair of jeans. And I wished my t-shirt was tighter. I have a pretty good build for my size, but I'd lost a lot of weight in Windricksville, and it just didn't fit right. It was a chilly night, and t-shirts aren't the warmest clothes in the world, but nobody ever gets cold in a rumble. Besides, jackets interfere with your swinging ability. Soda and Steve and I had put on more hair oil than was necessary, but we wanted to show that we were greasers. Tonight, we can be proud of it. Now, greasers may not have much, but they have a reputation. Well, that and long hair. What kind of world is it where all I have to be proud of is a reputation for being a hood and greasy hair? I don't want to be a hood. But even if I don't steal things and mug people and get boozed up, I'm marked as lousy. Why should I be proud of it? Why should I even pretend to be proud of it? Derry never went into the long hair. His was short and clean all the time. I sat in the armchair in the living room, waiting for the rest of the outfit to show up. But of course, tonight, the only one coming would be Two-Bit. I mean, Johnny and Dallas, they couldn't show. They're in the hospital. Soda and Steve were playing cards and arguing as usual. Soda was keeping up a steady stream of wisecracks and clowning, and Steve had turned up the radio so loud that it almost broke my eardrums. Of course, everybody listens to it loud like that, but it wasn't just the best thing for a headache. Hey, you like fights, don't you, Soda? I asked suddenly. Yeah, sure, he shrugged. I like fights. How come? I don't know. He looked at me puzzled. Because it's action. It's a contest. Like a drag race or a dance or something. Shoot, said Steve. I just want to beat them socials' heads in. When I get in a fight, I want to stomp the other guy good. I like it too. How come you like fights, Derry? I asked, looking up at him as he stood behind me, leaning in the kitchen doorway. He gave me one of those looks that hide what he's thinking, but Soda piped up. He likes to show off his muscles. I'm going to show them off on you, little buddy, if you get any mouthier. I digested what Soda said. I mean, it wasn't true. Derry liked anything that took strength, like weightlifting, playing football, or roofing houses, even if he was proud of being smart, too. Derry never said anything about it, but I knew he liked fights. I felt out of things. I mean, okay, I'll fight anyone, anytime. But I don't like to do it. I don't know if you ought to be in this rumble, Pony, Derry said slowly. Oh no, I thought in mortal fear. I've got to be in it. Right then, the most important thing in my life was helping us whip the socias. Don't let him make me stay home now. I've got to be in it. How come? I've always come through before, ain't I? Yeah, Derry said with a proud grin. You fight real good for a kid your size, but you were in shape before. You've lost weight. You don't look so great, kid. You're tensed up too much. Shoot, said Soda, trying to get the ace out of his shoe without Steve seeing him. We all get tensed up before a rumble. Come on, let them fight tonight. Skin never hurt anyone. No weapons, no danger. I'll be okay, I pleaded. I'll get hold of a little one, okay? Well, Johnny won't be there this time. So, Johnny and I, we sometimes ganged up on one big guy. But then Curly Shepherd won't be there either. Or Dally. And we'll need every man we can get. What happened to... yesterday I showed you the picture of all of them lined up. And they had Tim Shepherd on the far side over here, who is the one that had like the big scar on his face. Curly Shepherd is his younger brother, who plays a big role in the next book. What happened to Shepherd? I asked, remembering Tim Shepherd's kid brother. Curly, who was a tough, cool, hard as nails Tim in miniature, he and I had once played chicken by holding our lit cigarette ends against each other's fingers. We stood there, clenching our teeth and grimacing with sweat pouring down our faces and the smell of burning flesh making us sick, each refusing to holler until Tim happened to stroll by. When he saw that we were really burning holes in each other, he cracked our heads together, swearing to kill us both if we ever pulled a stunt like that again. I still have the scar on my forefinger. Curly was an average downtown hood. Tough, not real bright, but I liked him. He could take anything. He's in the cooler, Steve said, kicking the ace out of Soda's shoe. In the reformatory? Again? By the way, what does cooler mean?
A cigarette. It's a ciggy.
No.
No, in like a jail cell.
There you go. The fact that he's in jail. He's in the cooler, Steve said, kicking the ace out of Soda's shoe. In the reformatory? Again? I said, come on, let me fight, Derry. If it was blades or chains or something, it'd be different. Nobody ever gets really hurt in a skin rumble. By the way, if you keep this book and you highlight page 135, if you ever get into a fight here at school and you get sent down to Mrs. Twasson and she tries to kick you out of school, you can just pull this up and look at page 135 and go, no, it says right here, I was not using a blade or chain. Nobody ever gets really hurt in a skin rumble. You should let me go. And you can use this as your argument.
That's what Jaden Douglas should have done.
I'm pretty sure this is legally binding. Well, Derry gave in. I guess you can, but be careful. And if you get in a jam, holler. I'll get you out. I'll be okay, I said warily. How come you never worry about soda pop as much? I don't see you lecturing him. Man, Derry grinned and put his arm across Soda's shoulders. That is one kid, brother, I don't have to worry about. Soda punched him in the ribs affectionately. This kiddo can use his head. Soda Pop looked down at me with mock superiority, but Derry went on. Yeah, you can see. He uses his head for one thing, to grow hair on. He ducked Soda's swing and took off for the door. Two-Bit stuck his head in the door just as Derry went flying out of it, leaping as he went off the steps. Derry turned a somersault in midair, hit the ground, and then bounced up before Soda could catch him. Well, Two-Bit said cheerfully, cocking an eyebrow. I see we're in prime condition for a rumble. Is everybody happy? Yeah! Screamed Soda as he too did a flying somersault off the steps. He flipped up to walk on his hands and then did a no-hands cartwheel across the yard to meet Derry's performance. The excitement was catching. Screeching like an Indian, Steve went running across the lawn in flying leaps, stopped suddenly, and then flipped backward. We could all do acrobatics because Derry had taken a course at the YMCA and then spent a whole summer teaching us everything we learned on the grounds that might come in handy in a fight. It did, but it also got Two-Bit and Soda jailed once. They were doing mid-air flips down a downtown sidewalk, walking on their hands, otherwise disturbing the public and the police. Leave it to those two to pull something like that. So, would it be easier, because I think that takes you down to... I know. I thought for sure at some point you'd stop, but you seem to really want me to yell at you, so I figured it'd be best if I stopped to help you out on that one. So, you're down to 6, just so that you're aware. So I don't know if...
I'm holding strong.
Okay, if I'm just going to offer to move you to help cut down on distractions, because it's Tuesday, so I'm just trying to help you.
I'm going to hold it up strong.
Okay. You get to make your own choice. Remember, if I have to assign it, it's 100 lines. Just to keep you in the loop on things. Good job. You got a YMCA tag. I'm so proud of you. This next part's a little odd. I'm guessing it's because you guys have not normally been in a rumble or a big fight. But I'm assuming what they're getting ready to do is perfectly normal in all rumbles. Was that yours, Daniel, not Omar's? Good job, Daniel. With the YMCA tag. With a happy whoop, I did a no-hands cartwheel off the porch steps, hit the ground, and rolled to my feet. Two-Bit followed me in a similar manner. I am a greaser, Soda Pop chanted. I am a JD and a hood. I blacken the name of our fair city. I beat up people. I rob gas stations. I am a menace to society. Man, do I... What, you guys don't sing before fights? I'm pretty sure this is perfectly normal.
That's a tough job, though.
I have no idea why they sing.
Can be a
It's
young
just...
boy.
Man, do I have fun! Greaser, greaser, greaser! Steve sing-songed. Oh, victim of environment, underprivileged, rotten, no-count hood. Juvenile delinquent, you're no good! Derry shouted. Get the hint, white trash, Two-Bit said in a snobbish voice. I am a soch. I am the privileged and the well-dressed. I throw beer blasts, drive fancy cars, and break windows at fancy parties. Well, what do you do for fun? I inquired in a serious, awed voice. I jump racers! Two-Bit screamed and did a cartwheel. We settled down as we walked to the lot. Two-Bit was the only one wearing a jacket, and it's because he had a couple of cans of beer stuffed in it. He always gets drunk before a rumble. Before anything else, too, come to think of it. And I shook my head. I would hate to see the day when I had to get my nerve from a can. I mean, okay, I had tried drinking once before. The stuff tasted awful. I got sick, had a headache, and when Derry found out, he grounded me for 2 weeks. That was the last time I'd ever drink. I'd seen too much what drinking did for you at Johnny's home. Hey, two-bit, I said, deciding to complete my survey. How come you like to fight? He looked at me as if I was off my nut. Shoot, kid, everybody fights. Okay, if everybody jumped in the Arkansas River, old two-bit would be right on their heels. All right, I had it then. Soda fought for fun. Steve, hatred. Derry, pride. Two-bit, conformity. Why do I fight? I thought. I couldn't think of any real good reason. There isn't any real good reason for fighting except self-defense. Listen, Soda, you and Ponyboy, Derry said as we strode down the street. If the fuzz show, you two beat it out of there. The rest of us can only get jailed. But you two, you can get sent to a boys' home. Ain't nobody in this neighborhood gonna call the fuzz, Steve said grimly. They know what happened if they did. All the same, you two blow out the first sign of trouble. You hear me? You sure don't need an amplifier, Soda said, and then stuck out his tongue at the back of Derry's head. I stifled a giggle. If you want to see something funny, it's a tough hood sticking his tongue out at his big brother. I think I have a picture. Because now, as we go on to page 138, we're going to get to the rumble. Not then.
What about that?
By the way, I don't know if I showed you this yesterday, but the Care Bears are like in the same spots as the ones in this picture.
Oh. Yeah, you showed us that.
Except for Soda and Steve. I don't know. Those two are kind of weird. I thought they were switched, but I could be wrong. Alright, so let's put that picture up. Tim Shepard and company were already waiting when we arrived at the vacant lot, along with a gang from Brumley, one of the suburbs. Tim was a lean, cat-like 18-year-old who looked like the model JD you see in movies and magazines. He had the right curly black hair, smoldering dark eyes, and a long scar from the temple. Your temple is right next to your, like the side of your head right here. So temple. All the way down to his chin, where a tramp, which is a homeless person, had belted him with a broken pop bottle. He had a tough, hard look to him, and his nose had been broken twice. Like Dallas, his smile was grim and bitter. He was one of those who enjoys being a hood. The rest of his bunch were the same way. The boys from Brumley, too. Young hoods who would grow up to be old hoods. I'd never thought about it before, but they would just get worse as they got older. They wouldn't get better. I looked at Derry. He wasn't going to be any hood when he got old. Nah, he was going to get somewhere. Living the way we do would only make him more determined to get somewhere. And that's why he's better than the rest of us, I thought. He's going somewhere. And I was going to be like him. I wasn't going to live in a lousy neighborhood all my life. Tim had the tense, hungry look of an alley cat. That's what he's always reminded me of, an alley cat. And he was constantly restless. His boys ranged from 15 to 19, hard-looking characters who were used to the strict discipline Tim gave out. That was the difference between his gang and ours. They had a leader and were organized. His gang had a leader and were organized. We were just buddies who stuck together. Each man was his own leader. Maybe that's why we could whip them. Tim and the leader of the Brumley outfit moved forward to shake hands with each of us, proving that our gangs were on the same side in this fight.
Where's the temple?
Oh. You look at this picture? Oh, it goes down the side of his face.
Is Shepard your last name?
Yeah. Tim Shepard and Curly Shepard.
And Johnny's the purple.
You and that, sorry, we're exactly like a call. When Tim got to me, he studied me, maybe remembering how his kid brother and I played chicken. You and then quiet black-haired kid were the ones who killed the Soch? Yeah, I said, pretending to be proud of it. Then I thought of Cherry and Randy, and I got a sick feeling in my stomach. It's good going, kid. Curly always said you were a good kid. Now Curly's in the reformatory for the next 6 months. Tim grinned ruefully. probably thinking of his roughneck, hard-headed brother. He got caught breaking into a liquor store. Yeah, that little... He went on to call Curly every unprintable name under the sun. In Tim's way of thinking, these were terms of affection. I surveyed the scene with pride. I was the youngest one there. Now, even Curly, if he had been there, had turned 15, so he was older than me. And I could tell Derry realized this too, and although he was proud, I also knew he was worried. Shoot, I thought, I'll fight so good this time, he won't ever worry about me again. I'll show him that someone besides Soda Pop can use his head. One of the Brumley boys waved me over. We mostly stick with our own outfits, so I was a little leery of going over to him, but I shrugged. He asked to borrow a weed and lit up. Hey, that big guy with y'all, you know him pretty well? I ought to. He's my brother. But, sorry, I said I couldn't honestly say yes. I knew Derry as well as he knew me, and that isn't saying a whole lot. No kidding. I got a feeling he's going to be the one that has to start the fireworks around here. Now, he pretty good bopper? He meant rumbler. Those Brumley boys have weird vocabularies. I doubt if half of them can read a newspaper or spell much more than their names, and it comes out in their speech. I mean, you take a guy that calls a rumble Bob action, and you can tell he isn't real educated. Yeah, but why him? He shrugged. Oh, why anybody else? I looked our outfits over. Most greasers don't have real tough builds or anything. They're mostly lean, kind of panther looking in a slouchy way. This is partly because they don't eat much, partly because they're slouchy. Derry looked like he could whip anyone there. I think most of the guys were nervous because of the no weapons rule. I didn't know about the Brumley boys, but I knew Shepard's gang were used to fighting with anything they could get their hands on. Bicycle chains, blades, pop bottles, pieces of pipe, pool sticks, sometimes even heaters. I mean guns. I have a kind of lousy vocabulary too, even if I am educated. Our gang never went in for weapons. We're just not that rough. The only weapons we ever used were knives and shoes. We carried them mostly just for looks. Hang on a second. That's right, I already got you. I don't know why, but you know how kids are nowadays. That kid. Aw, that broke your streak. That's a bummer. You want to stand tomorrow, let me know and we can erase it.
I want to stand.
Alright, I'm going to put it here as a reminder. You tell me tomorrow, we'll let you stand. Silly kids and the choices they make. Just because Jaden was trying to set a bad example, as we know, he has so many points. We should definitely follow in his foot. The only weapons we ever used were knives and shoot. We carried them mostly just for looks, like Two-Bit with his black-handled switch. None of us had ever really hurt anybody, or even wanted to. Just Johnny. He hadn't wanted to. Hey, Curtis, Tim yelled. I jumped. Which one? I heard Soda yell back. The biggin! Come on over here. The guy from Bromley looked at me. Huh, what'd I tell you? The answer's 9, by the way. I'm sorry, I meant to say 8. We all know that attacking other kids in my class always works out well.
He did it again right after you.
The guy from Brumley looked at me. What'd I tell you? I watched Derry going toward Tim and the leader of the Brumley boys. He shouldn't be here, I thought suddenly. I mean, I shouldn't be here. Steve shouldn't be here. Soda shouldn't be here. Two-Bit shouldn't be here. We're greasers. We're not hoods. We don't belong with this bunch of future convicts. We could end up like them, I thought. We could. And the thought didn't help my headache. I went to stand with Soda and Steve and Two-Bit then because the Socias were arriving right on time. They came in 4 carloads and filled out silently. I counted 22 of them. There were 20 of us, so I figured the odds were as even as we could get them. Derry always liked to take on 2 at a time anyway. They looked like they were all cut from the same piece of cloth. clean shaven with semi-beetle haircuts, wearing striped or checkered shirts with light red or tan colored jackets or Madras ski jackets. They could just as easily have been going to the movies as to a rumble. That's why people don't ever think to blame the socias and are always ready to jump on us. We look hoodie, they look decent. It could be just the other way around. Half the hoods I know are pretty decent guys underneath all that grease, and from what I've heard, a lot of socias are just cold-blooded mean. But people usually go by looks. That leaves you about 8 pages for homework. Because the chapter ends at 149, I stopped on page 141. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the rumble and the death, and then we're going to start on chapter 10.
You mean 10 pages?
And then Annabelle, if you would also like to stand tomorrow to get back your streak, let me know. Yeah.
Because you would put her stuff on this.
No, it's because she's been talking to Vanessa, which also costs Vanessa points too. But Vanessa doesn't have a streak going. It's just, kids yapping.
Well, I try.